Hey everybody, welcome. I hope we are live. My name is Ken. I'm from shops3d.ca, and today we are doing something different.
Yeah.
What are we doing, Felix?
We're going to be unboxing the Sigma D25 from BCN3D, and this is 100% live, and we haven't unboxed it before.
Fantastic. So Felix here is our senior applications engineer at shops3d.ca, and we just got the Sigma D25 in just a couple days ago. And before we opened it and tested it out for ourselves, we thought it'd be awesome and fun to have a live unboxing for you. So what we're going to do today is we're going to open it up. We're going to play with it. We're going to install the software, and we're going to get it running so you guys can see what your experience would be when you get your own D25 printers. So
let's get to it.
Let's get to it. But wait, before that, what are you using to open it with?
I'm using a 3D printed stainless steel knife.
Awesome.
So we printed this in stainless steel, 316L. Send it out for debinding and sintering, and now I have this wonderful looking knife.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that later, but we're going to use a 3D printed metal knife to do the
Open up a 3D printer.
Awesome. So while you cut that, maybe I'll talk a little bit quickly about just what we're doing. So this is a live event, so we don't know if things will go wrong, but hopefully things don't. If you are tuning in live with us now, definitely go ahead and type in the comments. If you're on the YouTube page, if you're on our front page, you won't have access to comments. But you can always jump over to the YouTube section and type in your comments for us, and we'll try to respond to those comments or questions if you have any as well.
All right, I need your help.
All right, let's do it.
Let's lift this thing up.
Before we lift it up, do we need to cut the top?
I think you just have to lift it up. Let's see. Or maybe you do have to cut the top. Okay, let's cut the top.
That's how you know it's live.
All right.
Freshly sealed. There we are.
All right. First thing we see is some filament.
Yep.
I think this is just PLA, black PLA, and silver PLA.
There you go. So two full spools of PLA from BCN, and they are also partnered up with Mitsubishi Chemicals. And you get one full spool of black PLA and one full spool of silver PLA.
Next thing we have is a glass plate. Be careful with that. And moving on, declaration of conformity, meaning that it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Yep. And a lot of businesses that have factories where this might go into, do require those declaration of conformity for that purpose. And I think this is the accessory pack, right, Felix?
Yeah, a couple accessory packs. We'll
open
them
these
up in a second.
Bit.
And there's a couple more things. Oh,
there we go.
There's a panel, more panels. All right, I guess we're gonna have to install these ourselves, but let's see.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, let's see what's underneath. I hope there's a printer under here.
Hope so too. Okay.
Wow, that's a new color.
Yeah, it's like a gray whitish.
Yeah, we haven't seen that before.
All right, let's pull out this. Okay, let's make some space actually.
We'll just toss it over there.
Definitely easier with two people.
Yes.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay, are we just going to lift it straight up?
Yep.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, it's so huge.
That's a big printer. It's pretty heavy. What would you say, like?
Oh, it feels like 20 kilos, 40 pounds.
Yeah. Give you some more
slide
space
it down.
Here.
I think that's good. Let's cut off this nylon tape. Where's the knife?
It's right there.
There it is.
All right. Let me come on back down here.
So Ken, who's this printer for?
Well, it's named the D25. So that the D stands for desktop, and 25 is the volume in liters, right? Okay, so that's the volume of the printer, and it's for desktop users. So I would think this is targeted towards the professional market, professional hobbyist, or small business segment. Want to lift it?
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great.
So, wow, I love this color.
There you
Love
go.
this color. Okay.
So
is
maybe
there anything else?
describe the printer a little bit for us, Felix. So this is a brand new color for the Sigma line. Before we used to have a much darker gray color.
Dark gray, yeah.
Yeah, and so now we have a little bit of a lighter color. It's a brand new series of the printer. And I think maybe what we should do before we plug it in is we should also turn the printer around.
Let's do it.
So they can see what the back looks like.
Sure.
There we go.
So we got all our feeders enclosed in this little spot, and it's on these quick release hinges or thumb screws. So you take this out, it actually looks a lot like the R19, if you're familiar with it.
Don't lose
That's
any
what it
screws.
looks like. You got the filament sensors here, the feeders, and we'll get into that in a little bit. I'm just gonna put this back. All right. Turn it backwards again?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Man, it is sturdy.
So for those of you out there, the construction of this printer is all metal. And it has like a bead blasted finish. Very sturdy. You can hear all the metal in it, and it doesn't bend when we pick it up. It's a really solid frame.
Yeah, you definitely need two people to lift this, though.
Yeah,
I
for
gotta
sure.
say. It's heavy.
So I should find the power cable, right?
Yeah, find the power cable and see what's in those accessories.
Can you open this one? I'll open this one.
All right, so we got spool holders. We go right here. Got some tubes. We got, so this is the Wi-Fi adapter. So you gotta plug that into the back of the machine. Yeah, into the back of the machine. Put it on the side. We got a internet cable. USB cable if you wanted to connect it to your computer. A few more tubes. Looks like cleaning filament, some thumb screws. Oh, a test print. That looks pretty good.
Nice.
Another spool holder. And some clips. Okay. What do you have in your box?
All right, so in my box, I have a whole bunch of tools, including a stick of magic glue,
That's
which
important.
is awesome. You know, just to buy, everybody needs to buy that if they don't have it. Super useful for printing in general. You got your Allen keys, you got a spatula, you got some shims, micro SD card here.
Nice.
And that will be for
Stuff
files
right
and printing, and then pliers, and I believe, I'm not sure what this one is yet. Is it for leveling?
Yeah, it's for leveling.
So leveling
we'll go through.
gauge as well. But
Okay.
do we
You see
find
a
the power?
cord? I didn't see the power cord. Oh,
So we'll have to look for it.
you know it's a live unboxing then. Okay, we might need a. I don't know where it is. All right.
Did
I'll have
we
to get a power cord for somewhere.
Yeah. Did we forget it? Is it tucked underneath?
Let's see. Doesn't look like it. Move this up a little bit.
Okay, let's keep unboxing, and we'll grab one if we can't find it. Yeah.
I'll check some of the packaging. Maybe I missed it.
So while Felix is looking for the power cord, I'll take you guys through kind of where the D25 sits. So BCN recently just launched a whole new line of printers, and that consists of 3 different models. The D25, which is the desktop model here with 25 liters of print volume, W27 and W50. Now those are Epsilon series printers. They are fully enclosed, and what they have is a full enclosure with a door. They are IDEX as well. And then the W27 means that there's 27 liters of build volume, and the W stands for workbench. So that is more for an environment that requires more stringent protocols. So usually in workshops, factory floors, and things like that.
Right.
And I think that's the market that BCN is really targeting with their printers. Very easy to operate, dual extrusion IDEX printers. BCN3D as a company is from Spain. They're based out of Barcelona, and they've been in the business for a while.
Yeah, I think they were in the first with the IDEX idea.
Yeah.
Right. It started off from a university, right? Yeah.
So I
And they
believe
came
their
over here.
first units were just the Sigma, BCN3D Sigma.
Yeah, R17 they used to call them. Yeah.
Yeah, R17. I think R17 was even one generation newer. I think it was just Sigma, R17, R19.
Yeah.
And then they had the Sigmax, which was a larger unit. And the Sigmax is probably the closest cousin to the D25 in terms of comparison.
It looks really similar, but the D25 actually inherited a lot of the stuff from the W27, W50. So it's basically almost the exact same machine. So no top cover, same feeders, same extruders. The bed is a little bit different. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But other than that,
and the window's a little bit different. I think it used to have.
I think it used to be just solid, right?
No, I think it had a PETG window.
Oh yeah, it did. It did.
And,
Yeah.
I think we have
This
a
is a
more
very
of
nice
a cutout
cutout.
here. To me, it feels like the metal is thicker that they're using. I don't know if that's just because of the bead blast construction. It does feel more solid to me in comparison with the Sigma printers.
All right, so it's booting up. There's a nice loading bar here. That's almost done.
So I did get a toolkit ready just in case, but it's nice that they provided this toolkit for us so we don't have to do any of that. So we'll put that over here.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about the stuff that comes with it, actually. So
And you'll probably need to install the Bowden tubes.
yeah. Hopefully it takes us through the onboarding. Oh, so it's on. All right, so it's welcoming us to the BCN3D Sigma D25 experience. You get to choose your language. We're going to go with English, but there's quite a few actually available here. Continue. You have no connection to the internet, so we're going to actually plug this guy in. Let's try this out.
So while you do that, Felix, I'll talk a little bit about Shops 3D for those who are just tuning in for the first time. This is one of the first live unboxings that we are doing. Typically, what we do is we do a live launch as well, where we have the printer already tested. But at this point, we think it's actually more exciting just to do the live unboxing. Shop 3D is a Canadian-based premium 3D printing reseller here in Canada. We have showrooms in Ontario and Vancouver. And we specialize in 3D printers around this price range in the prosumer space. So professional printers that you can unbox, plug in, and start printing with right away. And this is the area in which we focus our efforts on. There you go.
Guessing
So we're just plugging that in now. Great.
All right.
Unfortunately, you can't see the back, but that's what Felix is doing over there.
All right, two, I want to run the setup assistant. We are going to do that. All right, so it's asking me to load filament. So it looks like we're skipping a few steps. Let's install the Bowden tubes in there. Now, normally Bowden tubes actually have directions to them, but it looks like this one does not.
I'll start unboxing the filament here so you can install that in.
So the Bowden tubes just pop in, and they did provide a few clips to go under the collets here. I'm going to install those as well.
Felix, can you talk a little bit about the extrusion system and the hot ends that BCN is using?
Yeah, so the extrusion system is a Bowden system, and they have, I believe, a 5-to-1 ratio. So it's a really powerful feeding system. So you'll be able to feed in basically anything in here. And then the actual hot ends that they use are actually from E3D. And E3D actually specializes in making nozzles and heat sinks and everything in between. So they're using a very reputable company here to manufacture them. And I've used E3D before with my other printers at home, and they're very good systems. So I'm just sliding the clips down here and also in the back.
So the first thing you'll notice about the Sigma printers is that it has a really big x-axis, and that is going to be one of the biggest draws of the unit here. A lot of other printers that we use don't have quite as big of a build volume on the x-axis. And this is going to give you kind of like a large bread loaf build volume for your printer.
Yep. Drop the clip.
There you go.
Use a different one. It's all good.
Yeah.
I have big fingers, so this is a little bit harder for me.
So while Felix is installing that in the back, I just got the filament open. So this is PLA black, BCN3D branded filament in a nice spool. I believe this is 750 grams, 2.85 millimeter diameter. So you're going to have to use the thicker type of filament, and that's actually better for the Bowden system that we're using in the printer anyway. So just pop this here. And then, as mentioned before, BCN did partner up with Mitsubishi Chemicals, very big chemical company, to produce this filament for them. And I believe they also engaged BASF as well for other types of filament. And it also comes with a bag, which all you need to do is add some desiccant, and you'll be able to store your filaments properly. It is a good idea to do that for filaments like PLA, nylon, and PVA, which are hygroscopic.
All right, I think we're ready to load in some filament.
Okay, so there's one ready for you, and I'll just open the other one here. This should be the silver.
Let's grab these snippers.
Yeah.
See them? Oh, we can use that.
Yeah. Snips here as well.
Yeah, there we
go.
Cut it on a 45. And we'll just follow the wizard. So low filament, yep. So we're gonna go with the left extruder. It's asking us what are we gonna put in here. So for now, the D25 is compatible only with PLA, PVA, PT. Click the wrong button. PLA, PTG, PVA, and TPU95A. And they should be releasing a few more standard filaments. Gotta wait for the bed to raise. Actually, we should put in. I forgot to put in the glass plates, so it's actually gonna fail if we let it keep going. Kind of wish they included a little manual about how to set this printer up.
Maybe there is, but
maybe this is our demo unit.
Yeah, they're like, you guys know how to use this.
Yeah.
So I'll just get this filament ready for Felix here.
Some nice big glass plates. I'm gonna just open the clips a little bit.
So looking at that glass
under.
plate, it looks a little bit different than the previous series.
Yeah, so the R19 actually used to have the glass plate sort of elevated. There was an air gap between the heating element and the glass. And that was done for reasons, but they actually changed it for the printers now because they found that the heating wasn't actually uniform enough on such a big surface. So they changed that. They listened to the community, ran their tests, and it was changed for this new generation, which is a great thing. When you have like I think it's 420 millimeters by 300 by 200 tall. And that's a massive build plate. So you want to have the really nice uniform heated bed. So we're just gonna let it boot up again.
All right, Felix, the filament's ready for you here.
Perfect. Unboxings are interesting when you haven't opened it before.
Yeah, so this is the first unit we have.
Yeah.
So we don't have any other units. This is it for now.
Yeah.
What we are planning to do is when we get the other new BCN3D printers in, the W27 and the W50, we might do unboxings of those guys as well.
Think so?
We might need 3 people to lift those up.
20, yeah. All right. So the wizard restarted, which is good. Just gonna skip the internet connection for now. Do you want to run we want to run the setup assistance. So load filament again. I'm gonna select the right filament this time, PLA.
Awesome.
So right now all the switches are homing, so it knows where it is. And this is why we put the glass plate in, because it's gonna actually hit a switch right on the head over there.
Yeah, speaking of the glass bed, in terms of build volume, as you can see, it is a very, very large build volume. So we're looking at 420 millimeters in the x-axis, 300 on the y, and then a height of 200 millimeters. Yep. And then in inches for our American friends, that translates to 16.5 inches x-axis, which is very good.
Yeah.
11.8 inches on the y-axis, and then 7.87 inches on the z-axis.
It's a big machine.
Yeah.
Right. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the filaments.
Oh, here.
All right, so the nozzle is heating up right now. So we're going to wait for that to happen. And then we'll follow the wizard. We've done this before, you know, on the R19 is very similar loading process, but we'll see how the wizard works so people can see, for those that have never had a 3D printer before.
Awesome.
Look at this sample model again.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice dual vision print.
Yeah.
So Felix, while we're waiting, tell us a little bit about the benefits of IDEX.
With such a big print volume, or you know, XY dimensions, you are able to really utilize it as 2 printers in one. Like even if you have this size, that is the average size of a regular 3D printer. So this is double the length in the X. So with 2 independent extruders, you're obviously doing dual extrusion print, you know, PLA and PVA, for example, but you're actually also able to utilize it in duplication mode and mirror mode. So you can print to fairly large parts at the same time, and essentially you're doubling your throughput. So you're making 2 parts at the same time as you would make 1 part on, you know, another printer, for example. So that's the main benefit of IDEX, and why they chose such a big print volume is because, you know, on smaller system, IDEX doesn't really work as well, because when you have the size of a regular 3D printer, it becomes really, really small.
Yeah, the heads are ending up fighting for space on that build.
Exactly. And people with the Sigma R19 might have experienced that, because that was basically half the size of this printer. And, you know, having IDEX there wasn't as powerful as on this machine. And
I know we're known for just saying build volume over and over and over again, and we will keep doing that. But, you know, just as a comparison of this build volume, you know, compared to other printers, if you're familiar with the Ultimaker 2 Plus, which is kind of a bread and butter printer, this is almost 2 of those in terms of build volume, side by side.
Side by side, yep.
Which is absolutely incredible.
So I'm just loading the filament right now, and it's asking us to load it until it stops, which is where the gears are in the back over there. I'm gonna click next, and then it's asking me to keep pushing the filament while the feeder starts going. So we're gonna click next again, and once it catches, you can let it go. It's gonna go through the tube and into the hot end. And the nice thing about these printers is that they have a purge bucket, so hopefully that collects all the wasted filament from, you know, loading filament or priming filament when you're doing dual extrusion prints. And those are pretty big.
Those are huge.
Yeah.
It's not going to fill up, but I think they just provided a large one to catch everything.
Yeah.
You know, the printers that we have in the showroom that we use on a consistent basis does get pretty dirty after a while. They do. Because of all the printing and all the little loose bits here and there. So
I put this wire wrong. Oh, I think it's okay for now. We'll leave it. Okay, so the filament went through, and there was no filament in there before, so we're just getting silver. And this last little window asking us to, you know, load more, but it looks okay to me. So we're going to click accept. We got a nice success. And now we're going to load the right side. So that's still PLA, right? The other one?
It is, yes.
Okay.
It's black PLA over here.
PLA.
Pass it over to you.
Perfect. Slide it in there. It's a little bit awkward to load filament like this, but so good. Okay, so we're going to feed it until it hits it, and we're just waiting for it to heat up. So first impressions, what do you think?
Looks good. Looks really good. I think sometimes we forget how big of a printer this is.
Yeah.
And all the prints that we can do on it.
Now, there is space for those panels that we pulled out, and we probably should install them eventually.
So where did they go, Felix?
So let's see. So those go on the sides, but I can't really install those, but you know, they go on the sides here, and they cover up the linear rails and the belts. And it looks like they provided thumb screws for those.
Okay.
So you don't really need any tools, which is nice.
Great. And then this goes into the back?
Yeah, just
Back
over
panel
here.
Oh,
yeah.
I see, yeah.
Get that nice BCN3D
Yeah, that would
logo.
look pretty nice.
Saw that later.
Yeah.
Go.
So right now the D25 is on pre-order status on our website. We do expect to have them in stock within 2 to 4 weeks. So if anybody's interested in that, they are available. The price of this unit right now is $54.25, and that's in Canadian dollars converted from euros from BCN. And then the W27 and W50 will also be available shortly as well. And those demo units are arriving to us within the week.
Yeah.
You can see the filament coming through the top here.
So I know the next steps are going to be calibrating the XY position and also the height of them. So that is what this gauge is used for. That's calibrating the height. And we'll go over how that works. And then there's also the shims. And those help with setting up your duplication and mirror mode prints. And they're basically just shims. So you slide them underneath your hot end and that will raise it up and down in order to bring the two nozzles in the perfect level. So you're going to be avoiding printing a raft, for example, saving some time on duplication and mirror mode prints.
And that'll ensure that your dual extrusion prints come out really sharp. And I think this is one of BCN's demo models for dual extrusion.
Sense. All right, so our next steps here.
Basically in their black and silver colors.
Yeah. Our next step is printer calibration. So we're going to click on next. Let's read what it says here. This process will calibrate the printer surface and the tool heads. Just follow the assistance. It is recommended to calibrate the printer frequently and after any transportations. Makes sense. The printing surface The printing surface will heat up, and just make sure you don't touch that if you're worried about the heat. So it's heating up right now.
That's the first thing I did was touch it.
Yeah.
Hasn't heated up yet. Just checking.
So I think that right now it's going to ask me to go through the leveling on the thumb screws here, and you'll notice a little bit of a difference if you guys can zoom in. That there's more ticks around it. So before it was split up into just 8 sections, and now they've decided to increase that to 16 ticks so that you have a little bit more accuracy when you are calibrating the printer, which is a great thing. A lot of this is waiting for stuff to heat up. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like unboxing units like this, there's really no assembly, I guess, unless you can count the little panels here.
Yeah, the little panels, putting the Bowden tubes in.
Everything else is pretty much straight out of the box, plug and play. But we do have to wait for the calibration process steps to take place.
I guess we can touch on some of the differences while we wait here from the R19. So the Bowden tube system has been revised a little bit. So it's still in the back, but all the paths are shorter. And the other thing that they changed, which is super important, is the filament sensor design. So before, sometimes it wasn't triggering properly, or the filament wasn't going through and getting stuck in the filament sensor housing. And they've changed that design completely, and now they're getting basically 100% success rate when you're loading filaments. I was definitely frustrated sometimes when my filament didn't go through the sensor and into the gears. So that's something they listen to the community, and they have changed. The other difference between this unit, the D25 and the W2750, is the heated bed specs. So this heated bed can actually only heat up to 80 degrees, and it's about half the power. So this is 300 watts. The W2750 have a 600 watts heated bed, and it's 24 volts versus 48 on the W27.
And so what are the implications of having this hotter heated bed?
So this is less hot technically, so it's up to 80 degrees. So here you'll have a little bit of a different experience in terms of what you can print. So ABS, for example, likes a very hot bed, about 100 degrees, and also an enclosed chamber. So this machine was made to make things a little bit easier. So you're just using standard filaments like PLA, PETG, PVA, the stiffer TPU 95A. So you're not going to be doing any, for now at least, you're not going to be doing any of the glass fiber polypropylene or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because the heat of the bed is limited at 80 degrees. But having said that, this is an open system. So you could tweak all the settings by yourself if you wanted to go crazy and print ABS on it, if you wanted.
Yeah, and I think that's why they designated this the desktop series and
For
not
sure.
the workbench series, because it's geared for places like libraries, schools, educational institutions, or
Yeah.
light printing, and that's really suited for that purpose with the materials that you can print with an 80-degree heated bed.
And I think that's why they chose this color, because it's going to be facing people, at the library, and people want to look at something that looks nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely nicer than the gray, the metal gray they have. So.
Yeah, it's a nice change for sure, and
Yeah.
it kind of separates the series a little bit.
Yeah. All right, so it's probing the bed right now, and once that's done, it's going to ask me to use the thumb screws and move them in a certain direction in order to level the bed. So we're getting the left thumb screw and the right thumb screws. I'm just going to go in front of the printer here. So we're turning it roughly a quarter turn and a bit. And there's actually a mark here if you want it to be very precise. And then here we're going a half turn in this way. It's a little bit harder. There you go. So click next, and we're going to redo this entire process to make sure that we actually did the right thing. And if we did, it will allow us to go to the next steps. But you could also skip this sort of double check if you wanted to.
I think one of the upgrades that's maybe not as big of a feature as the other, in terms of being touted, is that new touchscreen. It's pretty nice.
It is nicer.
It's large.
It's brighter as well.
It's clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait to print something.
Yeah. So auto leveling systems are always good.
Yeah.
In systems like this, and it really slows down the time, especially for people who are just getting into 3D printing. One of the things that they always stumble on is how to level the bed, which way do we turn. Having a great guide take you through that startup process is really important. And a lot of the initial stumblings of having a new 3D printer comes from bed leveling. So as long as we can make that process easier and simpler,
For sure.
Everybody's gonna have a better success rate.
Yeah, most problems happen if you have a bad first layer and then things detach, which is why you have the auto bed leveling and you have the magic glue, which helps things stick, and that improves your success rate a lot. Okay, looks like we have to do some more adjustments. So another half turn. So that's a quarter. So that's a half turn. And another quarter turn here. Okay, we'll call that good enough. I think that's fine. And we'll skip that. Next. Okay, so now we're gonna calibrate the height of the left nozzle. Processing.
So in comparison with some of the other 3D printers on the market that are dual extrusion, IDEX printers do take a little bit more time in terms of calibration for both nozzles. And that's mainly because those heads are working independently.
Yeah.
So we're making sure they jive well together. Whereas with some other systems, 2 nozzles on 1 head, that's usually less of a problem in terms of calibrating them.
Yeah.
But you also can't do 2 separate prints at once.
Give and take on everything,
Exactly.
right?
So there's no duplication mode in that respect.
So here it's asking me to clean the nozzle. If there's stuff on it, looks pretty clean to me. And the next step will be to use this gauge to calibrate the height. So we're going to do this on the left side and the right side, and based on whatever measurements we take. So it's actually asking me to put some magic glue down. Let's do that.
There you go.
Shake it up. I know it's going to print somewhere in the middle. I'm going to put a bunch of stuff around here and smear it on. Ooh. People used to do this type of stuff, but with acetone and ABS.
Yeah.
Some magical mixtures. All right, next.
Now I see in all the stepper motors that they have, there's actually heat sinks attached to them. We
Yeah.
don't see that in every printer company, right?
Yeah, and that will make the life of these steppers a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It's a good choice. I mean, it's probably not that expensive to just slap one of these on.
Yeah.
So why not?
And if you're running this printer 24/7, it does heat up.
You want that to be there for sure. All right, so now we're going to slide this gauge under. We're just going to go in front of the printer. And we're going to use the buttons here to raise it up until there's some resistance, but not too much. That looks good. And right now it's also going to print a pattern of 5 lines and ask us which one looks the best in terms of squish on the plate.
And I think not a lot of people know this, but when we first get the unit, it comes with two 0.4 millimeter diameter nozzles. But there is a family of nozzles that you can upgrade with. Larger nozzles or even smaller nozzles if you're looking to print something with finer detail.
Yeah, right now the only nozzles for the D25 are the 0.4 and 0.8. And they're going to be releasing some of the other ones as well.
Right. And there'll also be a hardened nozzle.
Yeah, so
or a ruby nozzle as well.
From what I read about the abrasive nozzle, the Hot X from E3D, those are only going to be available for the W27, W50 officially. But again, you can buy it, install it, and sort of tweak your own profiles if you really wanted to.
Gotcha. And it's just a matter of kind of unscrewing it and taking out the hot end and plugging in a new one with the new Bowden tube, right?
Yep. And then you run through the calibration to make sure everything is still nice and level.
Yeah. So what about the slicing software, Felix?
So it's the BCN3D's version of Cura.
Okay.
So they've taken Cura. It's one of the best softwares out there, made by Ultimaker, and they have modified it a little bit so that you have the duplication and mirror mode functionality that the regular Ultimaker Cura does not have. And that's basically it. If you're familiar with Cura, it's a very easy software to learn.
Yeah.
And no different on the BCN3D version as well. So right now we'll pick the best line, and looks like the third line is pretty good. Accept that, and we're gonna do the same on the right side. Good though. I'm upset there's no power cord though.
Yeah. I bet you it's in the box somewhere and we forgot it.
Yeah. And it's asking me to clean the nozzle, and it looks pretty good because we haven't used it. Sometimes there's going to be some debris on it, so you want to make sure that you remove that so that when you use the gauge, there's nothing interfering between the metal part of the nozzle and the plate. And we already put Magic Glue on, so we're going to click Next.
So Felix, so far, what are your thoughts of the D25 versus the original Sigmax units that we've tried in the past?
It feels very similar.
Yeah. But we got some little upgrades here and there.
Yeah, little upgrades,
awesome.
And mostly it's things that were inherited from the W27 and the W50 line, which is great. You're basically getting the same power, the same components as those more expensive machines in a different form factor and a different application and a different price. So I think that that's a great thing that they did. It's not like they have re-engineered this to be worse. They've just taken good quality components and assemblies from their better lines and just kind of tweak things around here to make it a little bit more affordable.
And then the addition of the Wi-Fi module, is that new?
Yes, it used to be, there used to be no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, there used to be no Wi-Fi. So that's new. And then you also get the BCN3D Cloud, which allows you to add printers and monitor your fleet and stuff like that. So that's another great new features that they've added.
So it's really become a professional tool.
Yeah.
And then with dual extrusion, that opens up a whole new world in terms of material choices. PLA with PVA is a great example of printing more complex geometries. Let's see, it's doing the calibration now.
For me, I think the biggest thing on this machine is the duplication mode.
Right.
Like if you're printing in batches, if you're like a service bureau and you need to print like 100 things, you're basically on half your time.
Exactly.
Which makes things easier for yourself, less runs, and maybe you can pass some of that savings off to your customers as well.
Yeah, and I don't think we really hit that cap until when we did some of the volunteer work for COVIDstop.ca. When we did that, when we were printing ear savers, and we just needed as many as possible. People were going through them hundreds at a time.
Yeah.
A printer like this would be able to do 2 at once
for the same
on
amount
either
of time.
side
Yeah.
at the same amount of time. And that really increased our output.
Yeah, that was a great application of this machine. All right, so now I'm trying to match the same line to the left extruder, and the third line looks about the same. I accept. And we're going to go into X-axis calibration now. So we already put magic glue down. It's good. So now it's going to print a pattern where we're going to match the left side to the right side and make sure that we have a good matching.
Nice.
Words are hard.
Everything's looking great.
Yeah, everything is sticking, so that's the number one thing. People pull their hair sometimes. They're like, I can't get my calibration to stick, so I can't calibrate my printer.
And we are running through this a little bit faster than normally people would. They would take their time.
Yeah, reading the instructions.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and do it. Whereas for us, we want to make sure we're cognizant of everybody's time. So we want to do things clearly, but at the same time, speed things up where we can.
Let's take a look at their BCN3D support page while it's printing those patterns.
Sure thing.
I think that there's some great resources for, unboxing your printer and troubleshooting any issues and just best practices.
Yeah, BCN has really upgraded their site recently to include a lot more content. It looks fantastic. It loads fast. And you don't know how important this is until you need to access manuals.
Yeah.
Going through the unboxing process.
Maybe we should have opened that. Yeah.
Probably should have pulled this up.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look.
Let's do it.
Maybe it will tell us what the par code is.
Look at that. It tells you exactly what to do.
The English version will be available. Oh, so it's not available yet.
Well, we can read Spanish.
We can read. You can read Spanish.
No,
wow.
okay.
I learned something new.
It'll be available soon.
Right. Let's go back, see if there's anything from the D25 that we can pull up here. How about quick start guide?
Yeah, so we have user guide, warranty, quick start guide right here.
Oh, nice. This is available.
There you go.
Okay, so there's some unboxing here.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so it's asking you to do all the things that we skipped.
So guys, please follow this if you are unboxing yourself. But we know the excitement of people who have a new printer.
Yeah.
A lot of people will open it kind of the way that we are opening it. So
yeah, especially if you have. All right, so it's going to ask me to match the lines. And number 4. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5 looks pretty good to me. Going to accept, and we're going to do the same thing on the Y. So it's very easy. You don't have to measure anything. Just match the lines. Maybe we can try and install the software while we do this.
sure,
Yeah,
we can do that.
give it a shot.
Oops, I think my computer's a little bit slow right now.
So for those that don't know, BCN3D Cura and Cura in general is actually an open source software. So it's, the Ultimaker team works on it, the BCN3D team works on it. And it's all available on GitHub if you're familiar with that platform. So if you wanted to contribute to that project, you can. And Ken, I do have a hack to actually get it without filling out this form.
Okay.
If you write in on Google GitHub BCN3D Cura.
Okay.
Yeah, I should open it up. Yeah, that's the first link.
Great.
And we're just going to go to the address over there on the top. Yeah, and you're going to do a slash, other one, /. Yeah, and you're going to type in releases. There you go. And on this page, you can see all of the work that BCN3D has done. And the latest software is the 3.3.0. So let's click on that one. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can, you can read everything they've done in this release, and you can just download the installation right there.
Great.
And once you have it installed, it will actually, if there's updates or anything like that, once you open the software, it will tell you, hey, there's an update, please upgrade, so you get all the latest features and profiles.
Nice. And I know we expect most of the people who are watching to kind of know what a slicer is, but you know, give me the base. 3D printer, this might be their first one. They don't know what a slicer is. You know, what does it do for us?
So the requirement for a 3D printer is file. So like you on a 2D printer, you need whatever a Word file to actually print it out. So you need a 3D model for a 3D printer. And you take that model to a slicer, and a slicer is basically doing exactly what's in the name. So it slices up your file into portions in the Z direction, and then you can tweak what type of settings you want to do there. Then you would just send it to the printer. And you can go as simple as you can by just using the defaults that BCN3D provides, or you can go off on your own and tweak all the infill lines, infill percentages, infill density, all that stuff. And that's it. That's just your preparation software for the 3D printer to understand the file that you're providing it with. And it's all G-code. And if you're familiar with that, it's basically just, I need to go to this spot and extrude this much, and then go to this spot, extrude this much. And it's a very simple command. So we're matching the lines again. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 looks good. Hopefully I'm counting from the right side. I'm not. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just the 5th one. Accept. And we're ready to print. So we're going to remove all the stuff that we printed for the calibration using the spatula provided. Stuck pretty well.
Great. Yeah, calibration lines look good. Process looks seamless.
Yep.
I do like how BCN printers have like this bluish tint LED going.
Yeah, makes it mysterious.
Yeah.
Oh man, it stuck really well. And the plate is still a little bit hot, so if we did wait for it to cool, it'd be a little bit easier.
That's a good sign. So when we print our first print, it will also stick very well.
Yeah, hope so. Let me grab. I have a bigger spatula down here somewhere.
Yeah.
That's my big boy spatula. Yeah, there you go. And that's good. Let's move that out. Okay, we are ready to print whatever we want. So let's see if there's any sample models on here. There's no sample models. Let's try and reinsert that in case it misread it. Okay, so there's nothing on here, but I did prepare one.
All right, good. We have a backup plan.
We have a backup plan.
That, and we also just loaded up the software for BCN3D Cura, so you can see the build area here. So once you import your model, it comes into here, and you can rotate it, check the different layers, select which extruder, which material that you're using.
We're gonna have to slice our own because I don't know where I put my SD card.
Okay.
All right, slide that in there. Nice. Okay, so if you don't have 3D models that you've designed, let's go on Thingiverse and download something.
Actually, Felix, I'll let you.
Sure, let's do it.
Take control of the computer, and I'll see if I can find that SD card for you.
Let's do it. Thingiverse. So I'm just going to go straight on the BCN3D Thingiverse profile.
Let's go.
Look for that. Yeah. Look for this dual color rook. Let's click on download all files.
Pushed it. All right, we have the files. And we'll just drag that into Cura. Great. And let's do duplication mode. What do we have set up? We have the D25. Yeah. On the top right here, you can see the D25 is set up. I'll click on duplication mode. Looks good. And we're going to click on arrange all models, which is somewhere up here. Yep. Arrange all models. And click on prepare. So you're able to just use sort of the simple setup over here, or you can go custom and really edit out everything you wanted. But we're just going to go with the default 0.2 profiles. Let's see what is available, actually. So there's a fine printing profile, 0.15 layer height, and fast printing profile, 0.3, if you just wanted something quick in like a draft prototype or something like that. All right, so it's going to take roughly 3 hours and 42 minutes for these rooks. I'm going to save it. And this is a good test model because inside of the rook, there's a lot of detail in the print.
All right, so we're going to eject that SD card.
That in here. Give them there to read right now.
Hit print.
There we go.
Set. So it should be heating up, and we should be printing 2 rooks in one shot.
Yeah. So on the screen, it does give you a bunch of settings that it's working on. You know, extruder 1 is at 210. Extruder 2 is 210. That's a good temperature for PLA. Yep. The bed is at 42 degrees right now. It's probably going to heat up a little bit more, and that's mostly what we're waiting for right now. And then this is fan speed, right, at 100%?
Yes. And the nice thing is that if you slice things for a different material or a different type of nozzle and you try and print it, it would actually not let you. It would tell you, hey, your printer's set up for something else and you're trying to print something else, so it's going to stop you from printing it in order to avoid any catastrophic failures or just failures in general.
So in terms of options that you have right now, it's going to give you an estimate of how long your print is going to take. You can also tweak some of the settings in there as well, but we recommend to do most of your setting tweaking in Cura.
In Cura, yes.
Correctly first, and then if you have to, go into this menu, and then you also have pause and stop for your prints.
If you click on settings, you'll be able to tweak the light intensity of the print, so you can actually turn it off if you want it. And then you have advanced settings like fan speeds, flow rates, and speeds, and also some of the regular settings like the temperatures of the bed and the extruders. So if you were tuning a new filament for some reason, those are pretty good stuff to have handy. All right, is it hot yet?
Yep, so I feel like it's getting hot.
50, so target is 60, we're at 55. So another thing is you might notice that this may heat up a little bit slower than the W27 because it's a lower powered heated bed.
And it is a really big heated bed, so
that will take a little bit of time
to heat up, and we know that just from experience. Yeah,
but at this point, we've unboxed it. I want to clean up the area. And that's it. You can start slicing files, queuing up jobs if you have it connected to the cloud, and start really stressing this machine.
Yeah. And in terms of best practices for using a 3D printer like this, keeping it clean,
Yep.
what are we recommending? Cleaning the nozzles between material changes.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do. If you're sticking with PLA and you're switching to ABS, for example, most of the time it's not a big deal because ABS prints at a higher temperature, or PETG in the case of the D25. But if you're going from the ABS down to PLA, for example, BCN3D includes some cleaning filament. So you run through the cleaning wizards over on the maintenance menu of this machine, and that would just purge out anything that kind of got stuck there from the ABS, going from a higher temperature material down to a lower one. And that will just ensure success rate and nice extrusions, and so that your nozzle doesn't clog. And it's good to do, if you're printing a lot, like 24/7, it's good to do every week or so, or 2 weeks anyway. It doesn't matter what you're printing. But if you're using it here and there, every month is a good frequency.
And then if you have filaments that you're not using for a while, especially PLA, nylon, PVA, those are some filaments that we should take out, put in that bag that they give you, seal it up, put some desiccant in there.
Yep.
There's already some desiccant inside the spools, so you can probably just toss the spool into the bag for safekeeping. We would recommend that if you're not using it for over 1 to 2 weeks, it's probably time to take it out, release the tension on the Bowden tubes.
For sure. And then in between prints, you might want to apply more magic glue if you notice that it's kind of missing there. And for cleaning the bed, some people like to use IPA and 70% IPA and clean it right here on the plates with some paper towel. But I like to actually take the entire plate, wash it with soap and water, and then put it right back in. And the reason for that is if you're handling the plates, you're touching it with your hands are oily, and that will sometimes be a problem for printing for the first layer. All right, so let's see what we have going on. It also looks like we're printing the brim, and both nozzles are extruding, which is a good sign, and both layers look pretty good. So that is our BCN3D D25 unboxing.
Yeah. So just a couple of notes before we sign off. First of all, we want to thank everybody for joining us today on this live unboxing. We hope you liked it. Leave us a comment if you do, and let us know what we can do better next time. We're also looking to do one for the W27 as well, once we get that all ready. Or we might change the format a little bit if we can speed things up, move it along. If you're looking to connect with us, go to our website, shops3d.ca. or go to our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, and connect with us there. And so hope you've all enjoyed it.
Yep.
This is thank you from me and Felix, and we're signing off now. Thanks, guys.
Take care, everybody.